Welcome to this edition of Beyond the Box. My name is Diana, and I'm your guest host. And in our studio today, we have
Kathy.
And I'm Sue.
And we're all from the Lightside UFO Study Group. And today we're going to talk a little bit about the flip side of the alien scenario. We've talked a lot about the reptilian agenda and the greys and abductions. Now we're going to talk about the positive aliens and the light.
Right. And the thing about that, too, is that our contacts really want people out there to know that they're there. And that they are there, and they would be willing to help if people are willing to ask. But all you hear about is the negative. One of our contacts was asked recently if there was something that you could tell the world, what would it be? What would you want them to know? And she said that we are here, and that we are here to help.
Well, they obey the law of non-interference, that they don't interfere with people's lives or the events of the world unless people ask for help. But the other side of that, the negative aliens, they don't follow any laws or rules. They break all of them.
Yep. Yes. And a lot of people ask, well, why don't they just come in here and clean up our mess or this kind of thing?
What do you mean by mess?
The state that we have the planet in, as far as polluted and the way that people are living, they're not living righteously. We're still a very warlike society, so a lot of people, as far as the pollution or the way that people are living, why don't the aliens just come down here and fix everything? But our contacts will say, no, we can't do that. It's your choice. It's your responsibility to correct the errors of your ways.
Like, you made the mess, you clean it up?
Yes.
Yeah, I've heard Bonnie, she's another member of the Lightside UFO Study Group. She's talked about, like children. If you make a mess, you can't just fix your children's problems all the time. What will they learn if you come in there and fix it all the time? So,
right.
Yes. Bonnie has written a couple of books, and if anybody wants to tell our audience the names of the books and a little bit about what they're about.
Wow. Alien Contact, the messages they bring, is basically Bonnie's story and how she got involved in the UFO phenomenon. She did not start out as being a believer. She actually got into the field to prove a friend of hers who was a UFO researcher, to prove her friend wrong. And the further in depth that she got into it, the more truth she started finding. So that's how the book starts out. It tells about how she got involved. And then she was approached and by one of a past member of the group, and she was told by that member that she would start channeling, to which she said no. She just did not want to get into that. It was against, do you remember why she just didn't want to do it?
She said pretty hokey, and yeah, she did not believe in it at all.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think she knew probably instinctively that there was a huge responsibility that goes along with it.
Yes, whatever you say to somebody, if it changes their life, it is a huge responsibility. She did not want that on her,
right.
Head.
So, anyways, sort of reluctantly, she went into this.
It was a ticker tape.
Yes.
She started getting messages like a ticker tape across her, in her
Yes.
forehead, like in her mind. And they're all messages of peace and love and
right.
harmony, just good messages.
Yes.
So she gave in. And
yeah. So she decided to go along with it. And she thought, well, this doesn't sound too bad, So that was the beginning. And then there's been years of transcriptions and conversations that we've had with the benevolent contacts. And this is more of what she was trying to bring forward in her first book, the messages that we have received.
But along with the messages, that something that really drove it home with her, and I think that really gives a really big kick or whatever to the book, is that she did have actual contact, and was through hypnosis was able to remember a lot of details.
Yes, and actually had a craft come down in the road. I believe it was in 1974, 76,
Yeah,
1976. Oh yes, the bicentennial. Yes, and so that was up close and personal contact.
Right.
You know,
And she wasn't going to go at first.
It was not just a sighting. Oh, I've seen a craft. Or a light in the sky. This craft came down on the road. A ladder came down. Alien came out, and he motioned for her to come. To which she said no, at first, and then she thought, "What am I doing? I've waited for this opportunity my whole life." So as soon as she had that thought, she was inside the craft. And then she had found out, "We know you know us from before," and they were there to help her awaken to the whole UFO alien phenomenon. And I believe it was that one there that told her he would be there if she ever needed him.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. So yes, first-hand contact.
Okay, so I'm just say from a person who hasn't been into UFOs or anything like that. Why are aliens here, good and bad? A lot of people, I don't think they distinguish between good or bad. So why are the aliens in here, and then maybe give us some distinction.
Why are the negatives here?
Yeah.
Well, the negatives are here because they want the planet. They think it's theirs. They're doing manipulation with human DNA so that they can actually take over the planet with their own hybrid children. People who think this is a great thing, that they're being used, are being fooled. Okay, now the positive aliens aren't doing any of this kind of thing. And they're here to help us and to bring the light back into the planet, or, excuse me, to make a difference. I mean, if the bad guys are here, the good guys are here too to help the balance and to make sure that they can't totally take over. And if the people here are just letting them do it, that's wrong. And they're not awake to the fact that they have a choice to say no. Yeah. So the positives are here because we need them here. And they're doing God's work, if you want to call it that. They're the ones who brought God into this picture, and Jesus to Bonnie. I know that because she wasn't brought up in a church. And when they brought this up to her, she was totally amazed. And it's made a difference in all of our lives, actually, to realize this. And I know that Christian people out there say all aliens are evil and they're demonic. You know what? And I can agree with them to a degree because they're talking about the guys who are doing experimentation on people. And if they want to say, yes, these are demonic, I would agree with you on that.
Yes.
But you can't judge everybody by one thing. It's like you could say everybody who's blonde and blue-eyed is evil, or who's over dark skin and brown eyes is evil. You can't do that. Personally, that's not true. So you can't judge everything according to what you're being superstitious and not really checking into everything. That's my opinion.
There's another school of thought where there's only one, there's only positive, there's only good, which is in my opinion, is pretty dangerous too, because you don't see the other half. You don't see your enemy that lurks around like a lion to devour.
We've been going to a lot of conferences and listening to people, and for a long time, they were all scared and horrified. And it was like overnight, all of a sudden it was spiritual and good. But they're given a cookie, if you want to call it that, or something to make them feel good by telling them it's all spiritual, and it's just really wonderful.
Well, I think the plan has been in the works for thousands of years. And so they kind of knew their strategy, what their strategy would be ahead of time. But I'm not sure exactly why or when the transformation took place either. Most of the abductions that you heard about started out as being horrifying, terrifying, and then suddenly, like you said, all of a sudden these are benevolent experiences. And we've actually been at conferences and personally asked people, now these same beings that abducted you now are spiritual, and to which the person said yes. And also going back and reflecting a little bit on the people who feel that there are only demonic out there. I started out getting in this whole field because of the spiritual aspect of it. And there were actually parts of scripture. For instance, Ezekiel's wheel within a wheel. Ezekiel had a vision, which was described as a wheel in a wheel, which is probably the most famous one.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's also the Star of Bethlehem, which, what other star do you know hovers in one spot?
Right.
All night long.
And shines.
Right.
The day and the night.
You know.
Day and night, that's impossible for a star.
And it went out actually as a guiding light and led the wise men to the place of Christ's birth and then hovered there the rest of the night.
Mm-hmm.
So these kind of messages that are in the Bible are what got me into it. And I thought, oh my gosh, there are spiritual beings out there.
There's a lot of stuff
yes.
talked about in Ezekiel too, and how I got from one place to another so quickly. That made me think too, maybe he had more contact than just that one sighting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and maybe I believe there was alien involvement in like parting the Red Sea or the Pillar of Fire.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You
But
know.
our context stressed that they were doing God's work. They were doing God's work, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So. Okay.
We were talking about the light before.
Right, because we talk about the light in our pamphlets and how to refuse abduction, alien abduction. We talk about using your light, and people like, oh, well, is that like turning the light on and sleeping with the light on at night? It's like, no. It's about using the light that's part of you. That's your soul light that God gives everybody when they're born. And it's something that exists with you through time that you're using to protect yourself and to surround yourself with God's light, if you want to call it that.
Well, it's like a mental picture in your
Yes.
mind.
Mm-hmm.
And I envision it as radiating from your chest area or where I feel your soul would be seated.
Mm-hmm.
And you send it out like a white light around your being for protection. But
Right.
and you're asking Creator for
Yeah,
help
it's
and
with
protection.
prayer. Mm-hmm.
So, but I didn't know what the light was either
Right.
before I got involved in this. I would have called it spirit or soul.
Mm-hmm.
So if that helps people understand a little bit more what we're trying to say, I think it's your soul.
Right.
And
You know,
I think the
it's
soul or the light is just like if God is the greatest, brightest light that exists, it's like a piece of him,
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
like our little Energizer Bunny battery, you know, and that keeps us moving, going.
Mm-hmm.
Without a soul, we wouldn't exist
Right.
for long.
Right.
So,
No, you wouldn't.
so light, having light. I mean, I hear things, people like praying for the world and you know having a national day of prayer or meditation day for just like send your light around the earth. I think that's a very positive thing. I think there's a lot of people doing little positive things all over the world, which is awesome.
And it's something that's really neat to do because you can visualize this in your mind, or if people want to call it their third eye or whatever, but you can see this light going around the world if you want to, and it makes a difference because where the light shines, Satan can't shine because he likes the dark, and where God's light is, there's no darkness.
Yeah.
And recently we've been asked to pray for the waters of Fukushima. So if you could just send out your thought in a form of a thought again, if you want to send your light as well, and surround Creator's light around the waters of Japan. this kind of thing does make a difference. I've read parts of the book Messages in Water, and your intent put on the water. If you think the intent of love helps restore the water to crystalline form, the water molecule. If you think the thought hate or any negative emotion, it distorts the water crystal. So just your thought, your prayer, sending your light to the waters of Fukushima, Japan, oceans worldwide, I think can make a difference. And that's hopeful.
Yes, it is.
So we can make a difference as individuals.
And that's a lot of what the alien contacts have said, that one person can be a light in the darkness, like a match in a dark closet. They talked a lot about balance.
Yes. What is balance?
What is balance? That's a good. When you picture a scale, it's like keeping things not juggled, but keeping things on a solid foundation. Keeping your emotions, your actions, everything kind of in check. But things can get you off balance.
It's like
quickly
being in a state of centeredness.
More sturdy.
It's like you said, it's your mental state, your emotional state, even your physical state, and spiritual. So how do you stay balanced?
That's
in a
an
world
everyday
of chaos. Yeah,
that's an everyday or every moment type of situation. Because I know when you're not feeling well, like I'm not feeling well today, everything's out of skew, and you have to keep everything in balance, and it's not always easy, but it's something to strive for every day. Because things get better that way, faster.
Well, and I think quiet time, be still, and know that I'm God, whatever.
Right.
Helps you maintain your balance. You're just being mindful, you're meditating, whatever. Even if it's a matter of 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes a day, just so you're trying to bring your, again, mental, physical, emotional, spiritual well-being back into a state of balance, because the world is so chaotic and everything is pulling at you.
Right.
Trying to get you off balance.
The stresses in this world right now are worse than they have been in a long time. And it is difficult, but I think with God's help you can do anything.
Yeah. And
absolutely.
Our alien contact said a good meditation can be like 8 hours of sleep. It could be so refreshing, restoring to your body and your soul. So it is very important. A lot of people don't really understand what meditation is. What exactly would you call meditation?
Quieting.
I mean, you sit quiet.
Quieting your mind. Trying to avoid your mind of all thoughts. Focusing on Creator and your connection to Him. What?
Well, sometimes just quiet music helps too.
Yes.
Get yourself in focus. Turning off the TV, turning off your phone, doing all these things so that there's no interruptions, because every time you want to meditate, someone calls or someone knocks on your door, and it's just nice to be able to. It's really great now. Just shut the phone off and turn on some quiet music and just go. Let it go into your soul and into your body. Just relax with it.
And probably this is what I do every time before I meditate, is ask for protection and guidance from the Creator. Because you can get in a vulnerable place if you're meditating, and letting completely go. You got to make sure that the light, you're protected by the light, and what the messages you get in are from the Creator.
Yeah.
That's that protection again. It's real important.
Yeah. So when I go to sleep at night, I send out my light, and then, like you said, I ask for Creator's protection. In conjunction with my own light, I ask for His light also to protect my living space. And sometimes even the light of Christ I'll ask for. It depends on the situation, how stressed out I am, and what's going on. If I feel like I need double bubble, I'll
Double
call on
bubble?
both of them.
Yeah. I've done lots of double bubbles
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
just
Well,
because.
It is.
It's
Like
important,
a very stressful
and they're-
world today, and you really have to.
And they're there to help out anyway, and they love it when you call on their light. So.
Yeah,
hmm
yeah,
And these are the things that our alien contacts have. They brought Jesus and God and balance and spirituality. All these things they're talking about, the positive aliens. And a big one is to help the people of this planet raise their spiritual levels.
right. Why though?
Because we're getting really
Why
close.
though? That's a good question.
Because we can make a difference on
on the planet.
if you want to go there. I believe that it's written. We're coming through some changes, if you want to call it end times, whatever. But it will make a difference accumulatively on the planet. The level of spirituality of the people can make a difference. You can make the cataclysms less cataclysmic by your level of spirituality as a whole. I believe. And I believe some of these things can even be staved off for a time.
Mm-hmm.
I think we've already done that already several times. Just by sending the light out in protection and love to the planet, and the people. It's very powerful. That light's very powerful. And it's very important. So the more people who use their light and send it out, the better the planet will be in a better stasis. Not so rock and rolly like it has been.
And when you talk about end times, a lot of people think that's the end of the world. It's going to blow up, or something big planet's going to hit it, or something. What do you consider the end times?
The end of the troubled times.
troubled times?
The
So
end of
it's
the
like a
troubled
new
time.
beginning.
Yes.
But you think it's are we into the
Oh, yes. But we have also been informed by our contacts, be wary of anyone who puts a date, a time on any event. Because there's so many variables. No one knows the date, time, other than God. Even Christ said himself. No one knows.
Right.
But the Creator.
So this December event that's supposed to be coming up next year, we can make a difference in that.
Absolutely. Yes. And that's the hopeful part again.
Right, and things don't have to be like they think it's going to be, because we can, as a spiritual person and using your light makes a huge difference in this.
Mm-hmm.
And this time coming, and most
Yeah.
people are nervous and upset about it. And if they would learn how to calm themselves and use their light or prayer, if they want to use prayer, and talk to God, you don't have to say a whole lot of words. You can just say it in your mind, and He hears you. I mean, as soon as you have a thought, He knows it. But it makes a difference. It makes a huge difference.
The way for me that sometimes I've been able to handle it or deal with it lately is to focus on the goal, the end result, the happy after.
Mm-hmm.
There's happy, good news after. This
Right.
planet will be restored. It will be Christ again. He's already won this planet back.
Right.
It's his, but for a time, evil has been allowed to run amok.
Okay. One thing we should talk about, too, maybe, is this rapture business.
Okay.
The Christians believe very strongly in the rapture,
Mm-hmm.
which is fine. I mean, in the Bible it talks about, when Christ comes back, the dead in Christ will rise, and this kind of thing, and that's part of the rapture, and the believers will be caught up in the air. One thing to be careful about with this, Satan knows these same things. He could have his people here to take the ones who are looking for the rapture and not using their own intuition and what's going on. And you don't want to get caught by this guy. Just because you know God doesn't mean, and you're not in balance, then you're going to be in trouble.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that this morning. If this world is rocking and rolling, tectonic plates are moving, and earthquakes and volcanoes and, you know, Fukushimas all around the world are just, you know,
Getting
wreaking
ready.
havoc.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody, a ship came down and offered you a ride, would you go?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's like it's going to be so desperate on this planet. People are going to want to get off, but who are you going to go with?
Yeah, I
You
just
get, both sides will have ships in the
Yes.
air, so you be
I
careful
just
who you
yes talked to a gal at school about that, and told her I feel we are in tribulation, period. And she said, "Why am I still here yet then?" And same concept of what we're talking about. She feels that she's going to be raptured before, and I said, because if everybody leaves the planet, it will be in utter darkness. And God would never leave it like that. I said, what if there's somebody still here teetering, and they need to hear one thing from you to push them over into the light, you know? But I kind of talked to her about that too. I said, she believes in this, come up hither, you know. I said,
Mhm.
be discerning.
Yes, you
And
have to be discerning.
She's said, what do you mean? You know, I said, well, because I knew she was coming from the Christian perspective, I said there are both angels and demons out there.
Right.
So know to where you're going up hither to, and to what you're going up hither to.
Because if you get on the wrong ship, that's it. You're done.
You're
Practically, you know, I don't know how we'd get you out of there. We'd have to see. And that's going to be up to God, and what kind of help He's going to be able to provide. As long as they keep their cool, if they're on the wrong ship, they need to collectively seek God immediately
oh yeah.
and keep yourself in balance, because you're going to be terrified.
Yeah, I mean, let alone the Earth changes. You know, now you
And
have an alien
now you have to
species
deal with
that's
this.
got you.
Right, and you
Well,
need to pray together.
Yes.
And they're going to try and separate you when you're up there. So
You were talking earlier about you need to be informed, knowledge. You know,
Mhm.
fear is something that will really take you somewhere you might not want to go. But, you know, we talk about the negative aliens and the Earth changes. They're not really fun to talk about. They're not really fun to read about. But you have to know.
right,
That's what we feel, you know,
you
to
have
share
to be
with people.
informed.
We've
You have to
had
know.
groups, you know, gone to people's study groups, and they don't really like hearing that. They want the rosy picture. They think we're almost done with this, our end times, and you know, a lot of them think we're past it already. And I just think that fear, in the Bible, it says men's hearts will fail for fear, from what they see. You know, and the
And we're
more
not
you're
there yet.
informed, the less you're likely to.
Right. You will not be blindsided.
Right.
Right.
You will
Right.
not be blindsided. But Christ also said to focus on the Gospels, or the good news.
Mhm.
To not to concern your mind or your heart, whatever. Let your heart not be troubled. To focus on the gospel, or what I'm saying by that is the good news. That's what's going to help you get through all this turmoil, and trouble.
Yeah,
You
it's
know,
like you can read and learn about the what's going on, but
Right.
don't focus and wallow in this bad
Yes.
stuff.
yes, because if that's all you're talking about, or if that's all you're focusing on, you're drawing that to yourself, and you're helping to increase that vibration on the planet. That's not what we want to increase. We want to increase the love and the faith. Especially now.
Getting back to the Satan's armies coming to take people. There is a species of alien out there who are beautiful blondes, blue eyes, that people would be thinking they look just like us, they should be safe. Actually, these guys are not.
Do you know
They-
what that species is called?
We call them the Nordics, I think, just because of their skin coloring and so forth. But they do work with the Greys and the reptilians, and they're there to trick you. Just as a warning, be very discerning. Set your radar up before you do anything, and go with whoever. Sometimes the scarier looking ones might be the right ones. Who knows?
Yeah.
But you have to have your radar out for yourself.
Well, I know Bonnie says this every time we talk about reptilians and greys. Not all reptilians or greys are bad. There are a
Right.
few that are good, you know, and I think Sue said it earlier. That's where your instincts come in. When you
Right.
see somebody, you look in their eyes, you can tell immediately where they're coming from. The eyes are the window to the soul. So a lot of movies and things portray aliens as greys, reptilians, and not good.
Well,
but some of them are good.
Right.
and
You just have
maybe
to
I could help clarify a little bit too what we're talking about. That would be like somebody entering the room and you look in their eyes and you know almost immediately, oh, I like that person. Or you know if you're adverse to them. That's your intuition. Listen to that. Don't ignore it. I think a lot of people are tuning their intuition out because they feel that's the only way they can live with what's happening
Yeah,
to them or whatever.
I think the aliens that we have contact with have talked about honing your instincts, listening to them, following them to make them stronger, because that could be the key to your survival in the future.
Yeah. Or sometimes it's even something you hear, like you have a thought, oh, I should run over here and pick that up. And then you self-talk back and you say, oh, no, I'll do that later. That's your intuition, I think. And I think that should be listened to. Go and pick it up. If you have that feeling or thought, gut feeling, that's something you should do, listen to that.
It's saved us a couple of times already.
Oh yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because we've had that, especially that one down on the beach that one time.
Oh,
Yeah, if you look on our website, the
Oh, my
strange
goodness.
footprints.
Right.
Yeah.
You
Whole
could feel those guys out
story.
there in the water the night before. It was very strong. And if you get on our website on the Lightside UFO Study Group, go into the newsroom section and click on Strange Footprints. You can see what we saw. These did come out of the water, which you don't have that part on the film, but they came out of the water up to the beach. To a certain point, they stopped, turned around for a few steps, and disappeared.
I think the whole point of this whole thing was your instinct
Right,
that you listened to.
right.
And it was the gut.
Real strong gut
Feeling.
feeling. Yes.
How do you explain that? It's just a feeling.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'd kind of like to go back a little bit if we could. We told why we felt the negative species are here, but we didn't go in as much as to
Right.
why we feel the positive species are here.
Okay.
They're out there, and they must follow God has ordained this law. I don't know any other way to say that. Some people have problem with that. They call it the law of non-interference. They will not interfere with our affairs, but they are there to help if we ask. And they are there monitoring what's going on the planet. And they are very concerned right now because we're still too unkind to one another.
Right.
But so why, other than that, is there another reason why they're there? I mean, that's why I feel
Well-
they're there. They're looking over us, and
They know time's getting short on the planet, and they're also here to help take people off.
right.
Should
it be
become
needed?
necessary?
Uh,
And they've also removed species from the planet with their
Oh.
permission.
yes. It's just amazing.
For the purpose of?
For the purpose of putting things back on this planet in case something bad does happen, so that it can be put back to the way it was originally.
And what did Lee say?
Let's see. Jesus will return to bring the final message to the people of this planet. God will not allow this planet to be destroyed.
Right.
God will rid this planet of evil. And it will be restored to its original, the way it was created to be.
They all have a connection to God.
Mm-hmm.
They all have this connection.
And we've been told that these species that were taken are the spiritual ones. They said it has occurred in space. The lion has laid down with the lamb, so they have been restored to the original peace and tranquility inside.
Right. They're not aggressive to each other at all.
Yeah, they'll eat the grasses of the field. They don't need to eat.
No.
Well,
To have the taste.
you
of
have
blood.
to have your vibrations got to be the right way in order to actually give off the planet. If you're an aggressive type person and you go up on a craft, you're not going to get very far. You won't survive. Your spiritual vibration has to be the right one, the right way to survive. So you have to be aware of this too.
Well, and our guys said that they would not take anyone without a high enough vibration because it would be a very painful death for someone.
Yes, and it's very traumatic.
This is why they're trying to encourage us to raise our levels of spirituality too.
Right.
So this is another reason why they're there.
Very important.
Yeah.
It's very important. And the rapture is not going to happen by magic, because that's what they make it sound like. It's going to be by magic, and it's not magic. And
Well, a lot of people think they don't think of the details, that
Oh.
you need a vehicle, something to transport
need-
a physical body.
well,
in.
Jesus wasn't a vehicle going up too after he got resurrected. Most people don't realize it, but that in that cloud, what was hiding in the cloud? You know, it's not by magic. It
No.
can't be by magic.
No, they're not going to be residing on a cloud, and you always
There's no
see
substance to a cloud.
No. And you always see his ascension depicted in this beam of light, you know. So what was he
Right.
beamed up to? You know.
Right.
And the disciples said, "What are you staring at? This same Christ, the same way he has left, shall return. The
Right.
same way."
Yes, that's true. Well, if you have any questions after you hear this, get a hold of us at the Lightside UFO Study Group. It's at, give us the email address, Kathy.
www.thelightside.org.
Right, and
Yeah, that's the website. The email address is that
TLS.
lightsideuFO@yahoo.com.
right, if you got questions, write us a
Give
note.
us an email.
Right, okay. I'm Sue.
I'm Kathy.
I'm Diana, and thank you for listening in to this edition of Beyond the Box. Keep looking up.